What's going on, guys? It's K-Dub here with another episode of Crypto Zombie. Welcome back to the channel. I hope everyone is doing all right today, especially if you do have your funds over on FTX. I know yesterday was definitely insane for the markets. In fact, just today, we put in yet another lower low compared to yesterday. You can see actually, so far, we've gotten down to about $16,936, and I actually saw it cheaper on some other exchanges. So obviously the idea of the bottom being in had worked for the past 5 months. Currently, right now, we are dealing with a black swan event. It also doesn't help the fact that today we're seeing stocks in the red. Yesterday, we had stocks in the green, but obviously we had the situation with FTX and Binance. And of course, tomorrow at 8:30 a.m., we do have the CPI data coming out. I know on top of everything that's already going on right now, and a lot of people are anticipating that once again, inflation could come in a little bit hot, right? So there is just a whirlwind of just a lot of negativity sort of right now in the crypto space. And I will tell you, I've seen a lot of FUD. I've seen a lot of things over the, past few years. And actually, even what we're seeing right now isn't really the worst, weekly candle that we've ever seen for Bitcoin. Granted, it is only halfway through the week. There could be a lot more to this. But what I do want to talk about is the aftermath of what exactly happened yesterday. I mean, in a sense, this is good that we're flushing out the bad actors, but did it kind of set crypto back a couple steps? And the big question is, you look at the technicals, obviously we can look at all these charts all day, but if investors are spooked, right, they're seeing all of these different custodial solutions crashing, trading with users' funds, getting liquidated, being irresponsible, what kind of message is that sending to these people, right? And just remember, before we get into the charts, we're going to talk about everything today. There is actually one level that's extremely critical that I am looking at. I'll let you guys know specifically. But, what is this doing to the investor confidence? Because a lot of these guys that are coming from traditional, finances, they don't want to, get a ledger and put their money on cold storage and be their own bank. They want to trust a custodian with their coins, with their stocks, whatever it is, right? And unfortunately, that isn't the ethos of the decentralized world. But nevertheless, with things like this happening, is this really crushing the trust in the market, right? And how could that fundamentally affect Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, at least in the short term, right? I mean, a lot of people are talking about this ETF. We're probably not going to get an ETF at this point if, things keep going the way that they are. So that's what I want to talk about today. And it's not going to be all doom and gloom, guys. I still believe that Bitcoin is on track to be, potentially the world reserve asset. And I know that seems crazy after some of the events that have transpired, but you do have to understand that we are going through a very difficult and somewhat unique time in a way, you could say, right? Even though I do believe history repeats itself. But nevertheless, guys, we're going to talk about all this. And also, there is something that's happening tomorrow. And I'm not talking about the CPI data. This actually has to do specifically with crypto, which unfortunately could also be a bit of a negative impact on the market. So we will get into all that today. If you guys watched, I put out 3 videos yesterday. We followed it from morning until night. So if you guys do like that kind of coverage, make sure you get subscribed. Make sure you turn on the bell notification, because people who didn't have the bell notification on yesterday, they didn't get these 2 videos, right? They just thought that, my 12 o'clock video, that was it. So make sure you get subscribed. Make sure you turn on the bell notifications. Now, this is the thing we've been talking about. And, I saw a few people in the Telegram talking about how we're losing this level here, right? And this is the 89 EMA. Now, I mean, clearly we are dipping below it at the time of making this video, but do just remember, this is a monthly chart, right? So realistically, we could technically trade below this level for the majority of the month. And as long as we close the end of the month above this level, meaning above $18,270-ish, then technically this is still on track. So, we have, a few weeks left, 3 weeks left, right, of November. So there's plenty of time for this to turn around. But it doesn't mean that it can't get worse in the short term, right? So I am going to do like a little bit of TA. I don't know that TA right now is extremely important based on some of the fundamental things that are happening in the space. But, you can see right here, we were supported on this downtrend, which is quite interesting to me, right? We had this resistance here, this resistance here, this resistance here, even this resistance right here. And, if we zoom in, you can actually see that we've touched it 2 times now. So is this attempting to reset a new base? Well, it could be, but the only problem with this level where we're kind of hanging out right now, 17,000, is there really isn't anything significant about this level. In fact, if you just want to take the next daily level that actually matters, we have to go all the way back here to November of 2022. And you could see that, after we lost this area right here, the next level is down here at around 16,300. And that's because you could see it provided resistance right here, and then it flipped support. Honestly, beyond that, guys, there's really not much else to look at. I mean, you could see right here, we had a little bit of resistance here, a little bit of resistance here. Obviously, this level that we're sitting at right now, the reason that it's significant is because this is, sort of the little daily bounce that we had back here. But unfortunately, and once again, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, the most important is out here on the weekly. And that weekly right here, you could see that candle did close at around 16,170. So unfortunately, guys, there's not really a lot of support between this level and down to 16,170. So, obviously we've gone lower than the previous low, so that's canceled out. Trying to call the bottom at this point. It worked for 5 months. Now, because of this Black Swan event, because of what's happening, we are going lower. So I would keep my eyes on that level. I'm not saying we're going to go down to 16,170. I'm not becoming a bear or anything. I'm just saying realistically, with a lot of what's going on right now, with a lot of the fear and uncertainty in the markets, and considering this is the next technical level, then 16,170 could possibly be a level, in the cards. And, that's where personally, not financial advice, I do have some more buys down there, and I do have, an area where I am looking to open along there. That's if we get it, right? We don't want to try to, catch falling knives. We don't want to try to guess where it is now. We were building a structure. Now we're starting to push below it, right? So we have to follow what we're looking at. Now, to make matters worse, on top of the fact that we have the CPI, on top of the fact that we have this crypto FUD, we also had the DXY having a little bit of a minor bounce right here. So, what everyone's looking at is now, is this dollar going to start going back up, and is it going to break through here? Because if the dollar goes on yet another run after people are starting to think that it could roll over at this point, then yeah, that obviously wouldn't be too great for Bitcoin and crypto, right? So there's not really too much to go over in the charts right now. Dollar cost averaging, absolutely. I mean, I am buying Bitcoin as much as I can at these levels while still attempting to have a little bit. Obviously, I don't want to go all in because you never know. But I mean, these levels historically I can't imagine someone possibly regretting buying Bitcoin at these levels in the next 3 to 5 years. I just don't see that happening. I think this is a generational buying opportunity, but it doesn't mean that it's going to get better immediately overnight, right? And, this was very upsetting to me. There's some, shady exchanges and some businesses out there that you kind of you get the vibe. It's a little weird. They're offering really high APY or something just kind of feels off. I was very shocked about this with SBF and Sam. And, I'm not really a fan of the guy specifically. I don't really appreciate the things he lobbies for. I don't stand with him, but considering, well, he used to be a $22 billion. Now I think he's only worth $900 million. Oh, only $900 million. Boo-hoo. But yeah, I mean, he did lose apparently a lot of his net worth being in all of these illiquid coins. But I just really thought that FTX was legit. I really did. I truly did. I even said it in my video, my first video of the day. I said I thought there was maybe about a 1% chance that, that these rumors were true. And, well, that just goes to show you, right? Don't trust, verify, which is why, highly suggest putting these on a ledger. But he deleted these tweets. A competitor is trying to go after us with false rumors. FTX is fine. Assets are fine. This is November 7th. Okay? Right in the afternoon. FTX has enough to cover all client holdings. We don't invest client assets, even in treasuries. We have been processing all withdrawals and will continue to do so. Well, turns out you didn't have the funds. There was a liquidity crunch and you did stop the withdrawals. And obviously this tweet was deleted, which is why I'm, looking at the Wayback Machine, because you can delete it, but the Wayback Machine knows Pepperidge Farm remembers, right? So yeah, I'm absolutely shocked by this. And, we had talked about what Dan Primick was saying last night, hearing from additional VC sources, total cluster. This really could be a death knell for crypto VCs, not exaggerating. And then just today, we get the news, over here that Kyle Samani, who's Multicoin Capital, you might be familiar with them, they're saying that they're being significantly impacted by FTX's collapse. Around 10% of Multicoin master funds' total AUM is stuck at the crypto exchange, right? They also have indirect exposure. Multicoin Capital also has indirect exposure to the FTX situation in the form of its positions in the Solana and Serum tokens. Since Solana was generally considered to be within Bankman-Fried's sphere of influence, the FTX situation could mean Sol could likely see increased volatility and impact its position in the near term, right? And by the way, I just realized that I just did all that TA and I only talked about the negatives. Obviously, getting back here, we'd want to hold right here above sort of this, right above that 18,000 kind of $200, $300 level, pretty much perfectly in line with this EMA ribbon. Okay, so that's like the positives. I completely forgot to say what we need to do, to get out of the water. But getting back to this, here's the other thing. Here's the big thing that's happening. So this is happening at 8:30 a.m. UTC tomorrow, which is like 3:30 in the morning Eastern time. Solana, meaning the coins worth nearly $1 billion, are going to be available to be unlocked. This is going to represent about 13% of the coin's circulating supply. This will be the second largest token unlock of Solana in terms of the number of coins being unstaked by validators. Now, going back to here, scrolling down, they say, since Solana was generally considered to be within Bankman-Fried's sphere of influence, then they have some, and this could affect them as well, and they can't get their coins off exchanges. So you guys see how this can sort of snowball. You see the avalanche that this can cause, right? And this is a little bit worrisome. So yeah, it's just, like I said, guys, we have to see what happens. We don't know all the details. We don't know how many VCs were invested in this. FTX is absolutely massive. And the fact that a giant, almost too big to fail, right, is actually potentially tumbling could be an issue. Now, here's something that could throw a wrench in the gear. So Circle CEO Jeremy Allaire said that a scenario, this is hypothetical, but we don't know. It's not, it's not like 100% confirmed, but a scenario where Binance backs out of its deal for FTX and no one else acquires the troubled firm is a scenario that would further shake markets. So let's hope that CZ goes through with what he said, but let's say he backs out. Well, then what happens to FTX, right? What happens to all those users' funds? I mean, they have, what is it? I don't even know. A lot of users. I don't even know the amount, but I mean, they were definitely one of the big guys. I mean, you saw, their advertisements were everywhere. You would see it at the Super Bowl, at games, on the streets, right? Celebrity endorsements, right? I mean, maybe that's where they spent all their money. Who knows? But that could be one situation. Now, talking about the other flip side is how much power this would give CZ, right? And think about the regulators. Are the regulators happy knowing that now Binance would control about 80% of the global market share? Now, you could just say, well, this is just good business, right? We're just, they're just doing their job. Hey, what can you say? We got 80%, but we did it doing the right thing. Of course, right? So it's very interesting. This is according to a report that says they would have about 80% share. And due to such implications, the FTX Binance deal could attract significant regulatory attention and possibly even intervention, especially from the US and European agencies, if FTX has investments in their jurisdictions. And we do know that FTX has been attempting to work a lot with the regulators, specifically in the US. So now, where does this jurisdiction fall? So they say to avoid getting in trouble, the report highlighted Binance would need to investigate any possibilities of a shortfall in terms of customer funds, and if there were any wrongdoings from diversion of customer funds to related parties or unauthorized purposes, right? Now, going back here, he said, we don't invest clients' assets in treasuries. Well, that's also what Mashinsky said over at Celsius, right? That's also what a lot of these guys said, and it turned out that they were lying. So should FTX's finances show inconsistencies, it would mean that Binance would acquire FTX as a fire sale by making whole the customers, which would lead to investors bringing into question the legitimacy of FTX's conduct, and the problematic situation in terms of FTX's balance sheet could result in an extremely disastrous outcome for investors. So this is kind of why in today's video, I'm not focusing so much on the TA, because while the TA does help us, the levels, obviously there's lots of bots and algorithms, and we know, liquidation cascades and how different orders get triggered in the book. We know all that. But what about this? What about investors losing confidence? What about investors who haven't even gotten into crypto saying that they're uninterested? Now they don't want to get in. Screw this. This is crazy. This place is unsafe. I mean, look at all the bad news that has come out this year. You have to admit, and it's not even like a conspiracy. I mean, it is just absolute gross negligence. Like, these people are just doing things they should not be doing. Now, the good thing that came out of this is that, CZ says all crypto exchanges should do Merkle tree proof of reserves, bank run on fractional reserves. Crypto exchanges should not, which we know banks do this, right? If you try to pull all your money out of a bank, you can't. It's not there. Binance will start to do this as proof of reserve soon. So that's good. I think more exchanges should provide proof of reserves transparently. We should be able to see that the funds are there, right? And the sad part is that because crypto is still the wild, wild west, it's not really fully regulated. So this is why I say, if you're not trading actively, if you're trading, you're trading. You're already taking a risk if you're trading anyway, right? But if you're not trading, you need to get your crypto off. You don't have to use a ledger. You can use a Trezor. You can even use a hot wallet if you want, something like Exodus. Just also understand that, those do have ways that people could get into them. They are hot wallets, right? If you are interested, guys, I have a tutorial on my channel. You can also go below. It's always I've literally always have the tutorial in the links. You guys can watch how to set these up. It's really, really easy to do. People think it's hard. It's not hard. But you guys might be familiar with Kobe, and I kind of just wanted to end on this little rant that he had. And this guy, he's an OG, right? He's been in since, way before I have. He bought Bitcoins at like $100 or less. He's got tons of, this guy's like very rich. He's doing very well off, let's just say. And he says, in my decade of crypto, think this exchange rug is by far the worst. Almost no time to react and lots of long-term and smart people impacted by it, right? This isn't just the little guys that got hurt. It's not just the retail that got dumped on or rug pulled. These are big, big VCs. These are big players. 3 Arrows, Voyager, Celsius, FTX, one of the biggest names in crypto. This is definitely not something to take lightly. He says when Mt. Gox happened, it sort of made sense. Everything was pretty new. When the rumors began, it was very plausible. Every exchange that rugged in the past kind of felt unsafe, right? I thought there was probably about a 1% chance of FTX insolvency, and that's exactly what I said. I said, yeah, about a 1% chance, right? I actually, silly me, I actually believed Sam. Now, granted, I don't use FTX. I've never used FTX. I've never promoted FTX, but it doesn't mean that I didn't think the guy was credible. He seemed credible. They seemed like they knew what they were doing. And this just goes to show us you can't trust anybody in this space. Nobody, don't even trust me. I'm just a guy on the internet. Sheesh, So he says, as a reasonable paranoid long-term crypto user, even I held more on FTX than I have ever on any other exchange, thinking it was safer. After 2 blowups this year, you thought I would have never bet on it. Maybe I'm just getting old and naive. The rumors for this blowup seem so egregious and unnecessary to me. I can't imagine running an exchange that does mid-8 figures per day in revenue and thinking, how can we leverage this for more money? I can't imagine risking a $40 billion business to try to get a multiple on client deposits. The biggest exchange rugs of the past were incompetence or tech bugs. This one just seems to be stealing customers' deposits. Seems completely insane to me, but I guess now I'm calibrated better on the extent people will go for greed. Cheers, Sam. So I think this is a really interesting thing, especially coming from a guy from Kobe, and it does open your eyes to this idea of greed, right? Greed is what drives people, in the FOMO sense, and fear is what is driving people now. Right now, fear is what's driving the market, right? And it's hard to take a neutral stance either way. But I just think that the events that have transpired this year are not leaving a good stamp on the crypto space. And this may take a little bit longer to recover than now we had thought because of the impression that it is leaving in the minds of people who are investing maybe for the first time or have invested but maybe have pulled funds out recently because they're scared, right? So what's interesting though, and this is kind of a lighter note to end the video on, a new research by Nickel Digital Asset Management says that about 92% of professional investors believe that the current values of popular cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin and Ethereum are actually attractive at this price, and they are still looking at a positive longer-term outlook for the sector. The research, based on feedback from 200 professional investors managing $2.2 trillion in assets across 7 countries, found that, on the whole, the investors believe that purchasing cryptocurrencies amid the current conditions will likely have better returns in 5 years. The research highlighted how professional investors have reacted to the market sell-off, with 56% reducing their holdings and 14% indicated that they have dramatically reduced holdings due to the wide-scale correction. So while we still have 92% of them saying that they are looking forward to this, in the future long term, you have 56% reducing their holdings and 14% reducing a dramatic amount. We don't know what a dramatic amount entails. Maybe it means most, right? So this is the situation that we're dealing with, guys, right now. And, we can have a look at this. We can have a look at what's going on in the charts right here. Let me just reset this right here. What is going on with this? Okay. Oh, I was like, we're in the wrong year, guys. So, as I said right here, unfortunately, guys, if we do continue to fall lower, like basically right now, we're either at the exact level where we're going to bounce because we're literally retesting this trend, or we're going to go down to about somewhere between 16,100 and 16,300 because there's no resistance or support in there, right? The first time we went up through those levels, we just blasted right through it. And then we dumped back down through it. And we blasted right through it again. There's really not a lot of trading and data going on in that area. So, worst case scenario, short term, I think we could retest between 16,100 to 16,350. And in order for us to get back into somewhat bullish, dare I say bullish territory, this yellow line right here, minimally about 18,176. And, that would put us right back up here above this level where, pretty much, we had, this was a little bit higher, but look at all the bouncing that we had, perfect right here, perfect right here. So, this was the support and we've unfortunately fallen through it. So that's about it for today, guys. I don't mean to be doom and gloom. I don't want to be doom and gloom. It's just, there's a lot going on right now and it's going to be hard to kind of shake this off short term. It would be nice if we could see a rebound, but the fact that right now stocks are falling, the fact that we have CPI coming out tomorrow, which is obviously going to be a little bit hotter than expected. I think that's what a lot of people are anticipating. Plus the fact that we have this ongoing feud, with Sam Bankman-Fried and, and then Solana dumping potentially on the market tomorrow. It could be a little bit more of a volatile week, guys. So that's it for me. Make sure you get subscribed. I will continue making updates every single day. Yesterday, I made 3 updates. I'm not planning on doing that every day. But obviously, if something is happening in the markets, I want to keep you guys informed, and I will let you know what's going on. At the end of the day, I think personally, like I said, 3 to 5 years from now, these levels are going to be laughable buying at these levels. But short term, due to these unforeseen, black swan type circumstances, plus what's going on globally, at this point, could it get crazier? It could, guys. We'll keep our eyes on it. Had we not had this, I still anticipated at least a $25,000 Bitcoin by the end of the year. How much is this going to stifle it now? Can we really get there in a month and a half? I don't know, given the current circumstances, but I will try my best every single day, guys, to keep you updated, let you know these levels, let you know the news, and always be transparent about what I'm seeing in these markets. If you enjoy this type of content, definitely get subscribed, drop a like, turn the bell notification on. If you might have missed those updates yesterday. And ultimately, guys, that is it for me. So thank you so much for coming back to the channel. You guys rock. You're the reason that I make these videos, and make sure you check this video popping up right here, right now. Until next time, stay crypto, and of course, peace out.